Uber shares, they're under a lot of pressure this morning after the transportation regulator in London stripping the service of its operating license. Joining us right now on the phone to discuss the impact of this decision is Dan Ives, Equity Research Managing Director at Wedbush. Good morning to you. Stock's off about 3.5%, maybe 4% now. That's a little bit better than where it was before, Dan. But if this decision holds, it is a meaningful problem for Uber, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, this would be a nightmare for Uber, especially the fact that it's about 3 to 4 revenue impact. You know, if you think about the ramifications here, this has been a back and forth between Uber and London, but 3 to 4% could come off the top line. I think companies caught flat-footed by this decision.
So the real question, though, is are investors caught flat-footed on this decision? And what does it mean? How do you even try to handicap what comes next? They're going to appeal this decision, but they've appealed before. This feels like it may be different.
It does. And I could tell you from a street perspective, it was viewed about a less than 10% chance that London TfL would ultimately do this and actually ban Uber. Now Uber's going to have to appeal and go through the court system, but it's something from an investor perspective, quantifying the impact. It's the last thing you want to see as an Uber investor in light of the horror news that we've seen over the last few months.
Becky asked a really important question when we were just talking about this about a half an hour ago. You can ask if you want, but this idea of whether this is not just a London-specific problem, that some of these issues that the London transport regulator are raising, do they apply to the rest of the world? And do regulators elsewhere say, you know what, these images are getting uploaded, unlicensed drivers are being used, there's not enough internal self-regulation around all these issues?
Yeah, it's a great point, and I think that's the broader worry here, is the ripple impact across other municipalities, not just across Europe, but in the U.S. And you know, this is something that could spread for Uber, and it opens up a Pandora's box that the company needs to contend with, and that's something you'll see as pressure on the stock in terms of not just London, but the ripple impact on this potential decision.
You know, I was a little surprised, Dan. I didn't realize what was really happening. I thought this was just bad blood between the two. But when they said that a big part of the problem was because of this, because you could upload unlicensed Uber drivers onto these pictures, so it looks like you are a licensed driver, I mean, that's a security threat. How come the company hasn't fixed that? And does that exist everywhere in that same type of system?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's something specifically in London they've tried to fix, but it's really been an epidemic, and it's been something where they've continued to find ways around it. And I think that's something that came up here, especially in London, given the back and forth. And this could be a knockout punch, and I think that's the worry. It does, you know, in terms of broader, it's more of an issue within London, especially in Europe, given privacy and GDPR, a heightened sensitivity to what's going on here.
Dan, what I don't understand is technically, if I get in an Uber car here, could it be an unlicensed driver who's potentially driving me? As a consumer, that's something I want to know.
Yeah, and that's something within the U.S. that's not been an issue. It's much more of an issue that we've seen in London. We have not seen that issue in the U.S.
Because the computer system is different, or because no regulator here has looked into it?
Yeah, I mean, look, regulators have looked into it. It has not been an issue that's been found in terms of those types of errors, like we've seen in London. But I think that's something now, as I talk about the Pandora's box, you're going to see more of a focus on that, not just in the U.S., but elsewhere, in terms of maybe peeling away the onion to see if it's a broader issue.
Thank you.
Okay. Dan, thank you. Appreciate it very much. We will continue to monitor Uber. As you've been talking, by the way, stock turned around in the opposite, in the worst way. I mean, in a bad way, the opposite way there. So.